Hello, leaders. It's me, Michael Giudicissi of Sounding Board Executive Coaching. And today we're going to have a very important lesson about life, about business, about your career, and about your performance. But with a very simple notion that you either live, work, and perform above the line or below it. And there's no gray area. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if you've looked around your neighborhood, your society, your world, you found that there's a very small percentage of people that live what I would call above the line. People that are fulfilled, people that are thriving, people that contribute, people that are genuinely happy, and that are good people. And then there's everybody else that lives below. Now, some people live just slightly below. They're close. It doesn't mean they're bad people or murderers or anything. And there's some people that live well below the line. And anywhere in between. Now, this chart is not to scale because the above the line in this chart would be such a minuscule portion of the chart that you wouldn't even be able to see it. But I wanted to investigate a couple things that help you live and perform then as a leader above the line. And there's really two things that I've found in my work, two commonalities that people that live and work and perform up here have and do on a regular basis, on an everyday basis, that allows them to live above that line. The first thing is what we'll call situational awareness. That's the very first thing, situational awareness. In other words, they understand where they are. And not just where I am in space, but where I am emotionally, psychologically, my relationships and my work. I understand where I am. I'm realistic about those things, and I don't deceive myself into believing I'm somewhere other than where I am. I accept what is. If you look at all the people that exist below the line, those people don't accept what is. They use subterfuge, they deflect, they fool themselves. They set up a vast array of mirrors to make them look somewhere differently than they actually are. And so if you do that, it's very hard to take the next step if you can't determine where you really are. So the first thing with those above the line, high achievers, happy, truly, genuinely happy and fulfilled people is they all have situational awareness and acceptance of it. And then the second thing, and all we have to do is put the essay again, self-actualization. That is that they can then prompt themselves to do something about it. If they're in a place, if their situational awareness tells them they're in a place geographically, financially, spiritually, emotionally, that they're happy and fulfilled and contributing, then their self-actualization is, I'll do the things necessary to stay here. Or I may decide to even go a little bit further, but I am going to continue to take the steps necessary to stay in this place, right? So as a for instance, let's just say from a financial standpoint, you've got a huge retirement account. You're locked and loaded and ready for your retirement, although it's some distance off. Well, situational awareness is I have invested all of the time and energy I need to have a secure retirement. Self-actualization is I can't just let it all go to the whichever way the wind blows. I have to continue, myself or my financial professional has to continue to manage that. So if the financial fortunes of the country or my investments change, I can react. And I don't step backwards. Two very simple things. Situational awareness, self-actualization. The people that live below the line do not have self-actualization. They wait for somebody else to actuate them, or they don't do it at all, ever. Think about that. They wait for somebody or something else, their emotions, the weather, their boss, their spouse, their partner, their kids. They wait for somebody else to actuate and press the button on them, and then they essentially do whatever that person or force wants them to do versus the thing they really should do in order to get themselves closer to being above the line. really key differential. If you let your emotions guide your decisions, then your emotions win. If you're able to self-actuate and say, hey, my emotions are telling me this, but in order to get where I'm going, in order to move to the situation I want, I'll choose my actions, then you have perfected the art of situational awareness. Two key things, simple. These pertain to your life. These pertain to your relationships. These pertain to your career. These pertain to your hobbies, your interactions, your family, every single thing. These two key things, if you can do them in lockstep, in unison, figure out where I am, I take the steps to either move from there or to make sure I stay there, you'll live and perform at a very, very high level. Now there's one more step, and I would call that step 0.5. It wouldn't be 1, it would actually come before that. And that step, and this is one that even many people at this level don't take, is what I would call pre-situational awareness. What does that mean? It means before I get somewhere, I see that my life, my career, my relationships are going in a certain direction. And I can logically think through and go a month, 6 months, a year, 5 years down the road, this is not going where I want it to be. It's time for me to stop this momentum and to build it in a different direction. In other words, I have enough foresight, I have enough logic, I have enough self-awareness in order to say, this is not going to be the result I want. And so I'm going to steer the ship differently right now instead of waiting until I get to that destination. And it takes you've got to live some years in order to have that pre-situational awareness, because a lot of it is based on experience. But some of it is just based on a hunch or a gut feeling that this is not the way that I'm going. So people that have that, the people that live way above the line, that pre-situational awareness, they make tiny course corrections all the time in their life, in their career, in their relationships. It's not waiting till I get somewhere to determine if I want to stay there. It's along the way making the changes in order to figure out where I want to be and am I on the right path. So it's essentially like driving a car down the highway and the car is in its lane. It's just drifting a little, so you just tap the wheel a tiny bit. You're always staying within the lane of where you want to go, and you're making sure that you don't dramatically depart that. Those are 3 key things that hopefully you see in yourself, and if not, these are things that can be learned. All is not lost for anybody that lives down here. You can learn these. The first thing is just brutal self-honesty. I am where I am. If you're not able to see where you are, if you legitimately you cannot see the forest for the trees, then you need to ask somebody or somebody's. You need to take an amalgam of a bunch of different inputs and then compare that to what you see and say, oh my gosh, I thought I was here. The rest of the world sees me here or here or here. I better work on my own awareness, my own situational and self-awareness, so I can have a better idea of where I actually am. So you can learn that. Self-actualization, essentially, is just a habit. When I say just, that minimizes it, but it's just a habit. But it's a very important habit to get into in order to prompt and push yourself to do the next thing that needs to be done in order to live that life, have that career, have those relationships that you want. And creating healthy habits is a whole nother discussion that we'll have at some point in the future. So hopefully this has helped you out. This is something that you may see and be able to use in the people that you are working with. But it's really key and important for us to be thinking about what we want from ourselves, where we want to be, and what we want from our team, what we want from our family, and then help them along the continuum. Don't just leave it to chance. You've seen lots of people, talented, good-looking, gifted, all those words that have never ever come close to living up to their potential, have been tortured and tormented. Why? They're on the wrong side of the line. If you're on the right side, grab some people from underneath and help them up. If you're on the wrong side, climb up to the line. Somebody else will grab you and help you up. I'll be happy to do that for you if you like. If I can help you out at all with your leadership, your company's culture, any of those things, please just give me an email. Michael G at powershottraining.com. Be happy to talk to you more about it. This is Michael G for the leadership lesson of living above the line. Good luck to you. Take care.